What's up, guys? This is Sam, and I'll be doing the free video for May 28th, 2021. So I just finished making the premium video for the folks in the Gold Room. And every Friday in the Gold Room, whenever we make the premium video, we always take on a trip around the world, call it the World Tour, and we look at every market. We look at all the indices. We look at currencies. We look at commodities. We look at bonds. We look at volatility. We look at the different sectors, and then we try to put all the pieces together and see where the action is. See where the money's going. See what sectors look best, and then aggregate the picture and see if it's a bullish picture, a bearish picture, or if it's neutral. Having just done that world tour, by and large, everything did look pretty bullish to me. I'll actually just go ahead and show you. So, if you look at something like the SPY here, actually, you know what? Let's start here. This will actually be one of the stocks that we're going to talk about. So we might as well just start here. So let's actually start with the Dow. You have the three indices, or four, the Dow, the Nasdaq, the S&P, and the Russell. By and large, the Dow remains unquestionably the best one of the group. You have this slingshot squeeze setting up here in the Dow while it's holding structure. You see how it's still above the 8 and the 21. You're also coming off a double bottom, and you're trading above this high right there. So you essentially have a double bottom low within the context of a range, and the potential that you're going to break out and actually try to go higher from here. Now, at the very least, I would look for the Dow to get right here to about 349 or so, 348, which is going to fill the gap, right? There's a little bit of a gap there, but the setup says that it actually could get, back here to the highs above 350. So this is going to be one of the stocks that we're going to talk about. Obviously it's the Dow Jones, the DIA, and without question it's the best looking index. So I do like this one going into next week. I think that if you're going to be playing in the indices, I think you definitely want to focus on the Dow and give it priority over the SPX or the Russell or even the Nasdaq. Just because of the cleanliness or how clear the pattern is here on the Dow. I really like the fact that it has this slingshot squeeze, meaning that it went lower, stayed in a squeeze, and then has the potential to fire long, kind of creating a rubber band or a slingshot effect. So I really do like that, and I think that the Dow offers a lot of opportunity, significantly more than the other indices. But by and large, everything that we looked at in the World Tour premium video was pretty bullish. I wouldn't say it's screamingly bullish. There's a couple of little issues here and there, but they're very minor compared to the overall very bullish picture from not only the indices, but world markets specifically. Europe looks great. Lots of Asia looks really good. The bond market is starting to stabilize. Commodities remain looking very good, and the dollar doesn't look like it's going to do very much. So all of that combines to form a more bullish picture than not. So I definitely want to focus on the Dow. So that's going to be one stock that I'd like to just cover with you there. The next one is going to be Freeport-McMoRan. This is the world's biggest copper miner. And we already have positions in the room here. We've been, shorting the $42 puts. Another trader shorted the $44 puts. I like both trades. I like basically shorting puts here indefinitely, basically. I could even justify calls, but I think doing the short puts makes the most sense. One thing that I really like here about Freeport, one, copper itself looks like it found a bottom and is on its way higher, which is a definite tailwind to Freeport. But then two, from a chart point of view, you see how it's been holding right there at that 21? And, it traded in a box at the 21, but in doing so, it got rid of all of this excessive momentum, and now it's back into a squeeze. So anytime that you can go into a squeeze while holding trend structure, that's extremely strong, and therefore is a stock I want to play. The weekly chart is very solid. The 4-hour chart has this kind of slingshot effect. So I'm looking here on Freeport, but at the very least for 44. That's kind of a very conservative target, but I'm looking for 44. If it gets a little bit crazier, and it certainly has the makings that it could, then I'd be looking for about 45 to 45 and a half. I wouldn't be too surprised if we retested the all-time highs, but let's take it one step at a time. Let's try to get this thing into 44 by next week, and then we can start talking about higher targets. We all have trades in this already. This is one of the stronger setups in the market, and I think it's one you should try to focus on as well. And then lastly, tangentially related to copper, which is Freeport, is going to be silver, which is SLV. So SLV here has been trying to do something for a while. And even though copper, which is kind of the cousin to silver, has been doing great for so long, the other cousin to silver, maybe it's less a cousin than a brother, is gold. And gold hadn't been doing very well. Well, now gold has started to. It looks like it found a bottom actually, and. And now that gold isn't weighing on silver, then you have kind of a tailwind from both gold and copper, which are kind of two inputs, if you will, to the price of silver, and both of them are working in tandem where they have not been before. So, from a charting point of view, you have a weekly squeeze here, you have a double bottom, and you have a flat top here, right around 26, 27. So the potential that this squeeze is going to fire long and actually take this back into the highs here, potentially all the way back up to about 28 to 30, is very high. I like the fact that it's starting to trend. You can see that it's holding the 21 here. And you also even have a daily squeeze developing here. So I like the combination here on silver between the daily trend beginning to start forming, the daily squeeze, and the weekly squeeze as well. The trend oscillator here is correct. You have both the green line over the red line, both above the middle, on both key time frames that we're talking about, the weekly and the daily. So I'm looking for higher here on silver, and I think that all of these ideas tie together. So the Dow ties in with materials, kind of the inflationary trade that ties in with Freeport, which is copper, which I think is the only play on copper really, but a fantastic chart. And then all of that ties into silver. So 3 ideas for you guys. Going into next week, it is more bullish than not, certainly, and I would definitely look to play it that way. But I would also understand that going into the summer, it does tend to be a little bit weak in terms of seasonality. So if we get a really bullish week next week, play it. Try to make some money off of that, because that is your job. But also understand that the rest of the month and going into July and so on might not have the same picture. So, stay tuned for next week's video where we'll talk about any changes. But going into next week, these are 3 stocks that I really like. And I'm looking to play all of them bullishly until something changes. So that's what we got for you. If you like the content that we're putting out there, guys, we always bring you some stock picks and some kind of cross-market analysis on Fridays. Be sure that you subscribe to the channel. It really just helps us with the algorithm. It helps more people see our content, and it helps us kind of keep putting out good quality content that can help you guys in your own trading. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel and leave us a like, leave us a dislike, leave us a comment. Just let us know you were here, and we look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you for the next one. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Have a great Memorial Day, 3-day weekend. Remember to relax, reset your brain for next week. Be ready for next week, and use this 3-day weekend to do that. And come back on Tuesday refreshed, ready to play some of these names, and let's get after it. All right, guys, that's my time. Have a great Friday, great weekend. I'll see you next week. Cheers.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency.
It's one of the things that won me